Hello everyone, this is the update from the race in Thailand, the MotoGP race. Not the most exciting race as far as fighting for the podium positions was, but the pressure was a little bit under the surface. First, a little summary about what Marc Marquez did. Marc Marquez won the race, but at some point he literally decided after a couple of laps, I think he did only 7 laps leading, and then he decided, well, something's going wrong, my front tire pressure is too low, and it will be too low for most of the race. Regulations say 50%, so half the race distance, you have to have the legal tire pressure. You can be naughty for less than 50%, so below the minimum pressure. And he definitely started with a really low front tire pressure, just in case he did not lead the race. Then he would have a front tire pressure that goes up, because when you don't lead, you follow other hot bikes, hot air, your tire pressure goes up. If you start really low, you're still within a reasonable range. He said, shit, I'm leading, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna be disqualified if I do that. You know what? Who's behind me? Oh, it's my brother, perfect. Let him lead. Marc had the race under full control. He started deliberately with a quite low front tire pressure, realized after a couple of laps, I don't need this low pressure, it's not going to go up by itself, so I just decided to follow somebody for a couple of laps, and then when he decided he needed to go, he could go, he went. So Marc Marquez in the factory Ducati team is as dangerous and as good as we all should have known. Maybe some people doubted it, but he is just back to his winning ways, just like he did in Honda. And I'm not going to say the championship is already gone away, because he is a human, he can make mistakes, he did make a lot of mistakes in the past, but at the moment he is that special guy again. Even on 32 years old, he just has that little bit of extra over, for example, Pecco Bagnaia on the same bike in the same team and with all the experience. So in a way, I love that. It's a joy to see him back on the podium, because look at his history, winning a lot of things, breaking the bones, coming back too quickly, breaking it again, trying to make a Honda that's definitely not competitive again, still try to be competitive with it until he more or less gave up, go back to a satellite team, now he's on the factory team and he's winning again. It's a beautiful story. Whether you like Marc or not, I love the story. What else to say about the race? Pecco Bagnaia, well, I more or less said it. He did everything okay, but at the moment and in this situation on this track, he's just not on the special level from Marc. Then in between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc's brother Alex, who's on last year's Ducati, which is probably the best Ducati MotoGP bike ever made, no, for sure. And it's probably still at the same level as where the factory bikes are now, the factory 25 bikes. So he had a beautiful package. He's a good guy. He's not a super talented, but he's clever, he's calm, he's very experienced. He will not do this every week again. He will finish second here. He will maybe win one race. He will finish second some more. But I don't see him in the fight for the World Championship. That still will be between Pecco Bagnaia and Marc Marquez. I'm saying after just the first race. Who else is stand out? Obviously, we have to speak again about Ai Ogura, because he finished 5th in the race now, which is his first MotoGP race. He's really a rookie. That is quite special. So, but to put his performance into a little bit of perspective, I have to give some background. He's a Moto2 world champion with a reason. He's really, really good. He's still only 24 years old, so it's very interesting. I thought he was around for ages. Yes, he is probably, but he's still only 24 years old. Really good in the Moto2 last year. Jumps on a bike, and now comes the but thing, the why thing. I don't want to take away anything from his performance, because he deserved it, he did everything correct. But the Aprilia definitely has made a huge step over the winter. They are so close to the Ducatis. It's just that the riders on them don't really figure it out completely. Bezzecchi was doing okay. Missed a start yesterday, and also today, for me, honestly, he's disappointing today. If you have that bike, he started in P8, and where did Bezzecchi finish? P6, and one place was given. So that's not very, very strong, because for me that Aprilia is unbelievably good. How good the Aprilia is, we see on Ai Ogura. If Ai Ogura was starting this race weekend on a KTM, he will definitely not have been here. The KTM is another story, is a more tragic story. So Ai Ogura did everything correct. He jumps on a beautiful bike. That's probably also the bike that is like still easy, relatively easy to ride. Because coming from a Moto2 bike, you need to learn a lot of new things on a MotoGP bike. If he would have jumped on a Ducati, which is a bike that needs to be ridden quite special, a lot with the rear, also on the braking, he would have taken more time. But he's on Aprilia, which is a MotoGP bike, means it's very heavy to change direction. It's very hard physically with the brakes and everything, but he quickly understood that. He's very calm, he's intelligent, he's calm, and he learns quickly. I'm still not sure if he's such a super talented guy like Marc Marquez, like Pedro Acosta, but brains and determination will bring you a long way. And it was a joy to see that fairy tales still more or less exist in MotoGP, like Ai Ogura arriving in the MotoGP in the first weekend, putting the thing on the second row, and doing this qualifying in this race results is really good. What's also quite good is Johan Zarco P7 on the Honda. And before him was Joan Mir on P6 on the Honda, but Joan Mir being Joan Mir, he crashed out of the race. But still, Honda have made also a good step. Yamaha have made a good step, Honda made a good step, Aprilia made a super step, and then all I mean is steps towards Ducati. The only company manufacturer that did not make a step at all, I think, is KTM. Well, we all know about the financial woes and the troubles in KTM, and we see now the results of all these things. So, because Pedro Acosta, he did okay yesterday, but today he couldn't do anything, and then he crashed out still trying to do something. And he's a super talent-wise, he's in top 4 in the MotoGP. So KTM struggles. But this race is a bit special. It's super hot, which changes everything. It's also a track that is so different that Michelin brings special tires with not just another compound, but also a completely different carcass. And the carcass changes so much the character of a rear tire. So yes, the points are honestly here, but by the time we go to, for example, Jerez, Mugello, we are more in normal ways, and then we are, especially when we arrive in Jerez, we will really see who is where in the championship and in the standings. But first impressions from Yamaha are quite good, Honda are quite good, KTM, like I said, not good at all, Aprilia super good, but still Ducati is still fully there. Yamaha is good, but that's not because of Fabio Quartararo finishing 15. He had an okay start and just dropped like a stone. So something was wrong in the Yamaha, and this video is made very short time after the race. So I don't know what was wrong, but I showed Jack Miller finishing in P11, but in the beginning riding around in P4, P5, P6, a long time in P6 and P7. Had a good battle, had lots of battles. I think he got boxed around a little bit in the background. The cameras were not always on him, finishing 11, which, looking at where Yamaha comes from, and it's the first race only for Jack, means Jack's back on a happy bike and Yamaha is back as well. Well, not there yet, but they're getting there. Moto3, Joel Kelso, I'm speaking for the Australians. Like I said yesterday, where he qualified from 8th position. He was in the group that was not the leading group. At the moment, he crashed. Let's be honest there. He crashed. At that moment, one guy already checked out in the Moto3, which is very seldom, but one guy checked out. There was like 7-8 riders fighting for P2. Joel was in there. I think he ran into the back of somebody, whether it's his fault or not. So he crashed, he had nothing. But we can still be very happy for what Senna Aegis did, because in the Moto2, for a 20-year-old Australian kid, finishing P3, including a long lap, is quite special. So that's really good. You guys can be happy. Senna Aegis did a wonderful job, and he was strong in the testing already. He was strong all weekend. This was not a given result because everybody crashed in front of him. So that's strong. That is a very stable German team, the Dynavolt team, which normally have the material very well organized. They have some good technicians. If he keeps his head cool, he can have a brilliant year. And if you have a really good year in Moto2, and you're only 20 years old, you can have a future, but that's maybe too early to say something about it. So yeah, this is my summary of what happened today in Thailand. Like I said, the race was not the most exciting race. There was a lot of pressure and tension underneath it. There's a clear winner, one guy that stood above everybody else, and then another step, Marc Marquez. Behind him, we start to figure out which manufacturer is where, but have a little bit caution with that, because this track, the situations and the tires are quite special. So we need another 2-3 races to know for sure who is where. But anyway, I enjoyed the racing. I hope you did too. Thank you for watching it.